Hey guys, welcome to another CSGO tutorial video, and in this video I'm going to talk to you guys about how to defend mid from arches and from the kind of apartment side of A on DE Inferno. Little disclaimer, this video, just like all my other videos, are angled primarily towards matchmaking players at the lower to intermediate levels. However, the concepts that I will be covering should be applicable in higher level games. Anyways, like I said in my previous video, I am pre-recording a lot of these videos in case I am not able to upload for some reason, so that I don't do what I did for the past 2 weeks and not upload anything. So playing mid is really important when you're playing towards A, because the two ways that terrorists will take to go towards A is either run through apartments or run up through mid. Now this is something that I don't really see a lot towards the lower end of the matchmaking spectrum, but towards the mid tier to high level like MG, DMG, and towards professional games or ESCA games, just anything at the higher level of Counter-Strike, you will see good terrorist teams taking control up mid, exploiting archside, exploiting what used to be Moto. I'm still going to call it Moto because there used to be a big ass truck here, so I'm going to call this side Moto. So they would take advantage of arches and Moto and really work that to their advantage. So the first thing that I'm going to show you guys how to do is just how to play towards arch side. So playing towards arch side can be accomplished in a variety of ways. So one thing that you guys should always be aware of is make sure that mid is smoked off at the proper time. One thing that I do have a problem with sometimes is I'll just at the start of the round I'll run through CT and I'll throw the smoke early. Smokes last I think it's 18 seconds. I'm 99% sure that it's 18 seconds. And if I throw this early into the round, I really don't do anything for myself. What I'm doing is I'm wasting $300 worth of utility that I can easily use towards a later stage of the round. So you guys can do exactly what I did. Go ahead and rewind and just watch how I smoked off that position. That blocks off this entire choke point right here, and it prevents terrorists from coming up. So now that I've shown you guys how to throw out smoke, you guys can play arches either from here towards a more active stance or from here, which is something that I call passive stance. So the difference between an active and a passive stance is not necessarily in terms of being aggressive or passive, but more in terms of the angles that you hold and the ways that you guys force terrorists to take fights. In an active setup, what I'm going to be doing is peeking towards this angle and let the terrorists come towards me. However, if I am playing towards a more passive angle, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be letting the terrorists come towards me, just like you always should. But this position allows me a much higher degree of fallback. If I'm playing from arches right here, and if I see a terrorist pop out, I can take one fight. I can toss a flashbang, rotate all the way through library, and kind of just poke out right here and make sure that terrorists don't come up. However, if I am playing towards a more active setup, I'm gonna want to be able to jiggle peek right here. Take out your knife, spam spam A and D. Jiggle peek this angle right here. Once you see an enemy, you guys can take that fight, quickly reposition yourself to cubby, keep taking fights and stuff like that. So that's the difference between an active and passive setup. So first off, in the active sense of the setup, which is the thing that I greatly prefer, is I'll play an angle like this. So I'll have mid smoked off towards the middle section of the round, because at the higher levels of Counter-Strike, what you will see teams trying to do is they'll just use utility to bait out your utility. So as a good CT side player, you should be able to have the discipline to not throw all your utility towards mid. One mistake that I do see people do a lot, especially at the lower levels of matchmaking, is they'll toss a smoke there, and then a terrorist will throw a flashbang, and the terrorist and the CT playing here is going to get really scared. So what the CT does is he or she is going to throw a Molotov and then bank a flash over and basically just piss away all the utility that you invested in. So that's something that you really want to not do, because spacing out your utility and using most of it while they push is a much better idea as opposed to just chucking stuff like that. So that's one thing that you guys should be doing. So make sure to space out your utility accordingly. And yeah, so the first spot to play is towards this kind of corner towards our side right here. You guys can peek out. This is a really good spot to play. Don't necessarily play close. You guys can peek a little farther out. As terrorists kind of push up here, they will get hurt really easily. And yeah, you can get in here, take 3 or 4 shots, back off. You guys can go from an active setup, so playing right there, you guys get 2 kills or so, and provided the bomb doesn't drop, you guys can fall back here. Alternatively, if you are feeling a little more confident, you can take this 1 kill, move towards here, kind of hug this wall, and keep getting kills. So Additionally, you can play in cubby, but this is towards more of a setup in which you have someone playing towards the corner of arch here. So the reason why you want to do that is you'll play kind of a bait and switch thing. Like close to about a year ago, like especially during like Katowice 2014 stuff like that. Katowice 2015, sorry. That was one major where I really did like remember how CTs would play the setup. So I think it was Fnatic that did this towards like out of group stages. So in the quarters, in the semis, or wherever that was, I don't really remember it. But I do remember is, like, I think it was Pronax playing towards here, and like one other player playing towards here. What this player would do is, he would bait out shots from here, he would take 1 or 2 fights, and then as this player would fall back, when the terrorists are moving up, this player would toss a flashbang like that, let that pop over, and then both those players would peek into it. Playing cubby is really only a position that you want to be playing if you're playing with multiple people towards this kind of area. The reason for this being, if I'm just playing in cubby and a terrorist peeks out, first off, I'm really putting my team at a disadvantage. If I don't punish people peeking up in this initial lane, then I'm really not doing anything. So if they're up here, they can take a Molotov, left click throw it into there, and bam, you're dead. You know, you're pretty much screwed. So don't play this spot solo. I cannot stress this enough. You play this solo, it is very, very dangerous if you're playing against smart terrorists. So, if I'm going to be playing cubby, I'm going to have a teammate that I can trust, that can communicate, playing this angle right here, being able to take fights, and set up my peaks with utility. So, regarding a more passive setup, this is the last part that I'm going to be talking about for playing arch side. This side isn't really much to do. This is a good solo spot because from here you can take this fight, pull back, angle yourself towards here, take that fight, and then go towards library. There's really nothing new there. Just know how to play this angle. Don't overcommit. This is also a really big problem that I see in general, is people just mindlessly overcommitting to fights that they should not take. So you get 1 or 2 kills, and then you stick to this angle, and like you just sit in the exact same spot waiting for people to come into your crosshair. This is a really big mistake, especially if you're playing towards the good player level, so like MG, DMG, LEM, because people are just gonna take your head off. If you're sitting right here after you've got 2 or 3 kills, you haven't moved a muscle, you're just waiting, you're pre-aiming the spot, good T players are just gonna pop out, pop you in the head, and you're done. So don't needlessly overcommit. Know when to back off. Know when to use more utility and push up, or like use utility and fall back. So moving on to playing towards Moto. So this video might get a little long, so I might actually have to split this up. But playing towards mid through Moto or hay bales right now is kind of complicated, but at the same time it's pretty simple. So I know it sounded like a huge ass dichotomy there, but what I'm saying is you can play this towards the fundamental level of CS like really easily. You know, it's really not that hard. But once you start playing towards the mid to advanced levels of Counter-Strike, you guys can innovate a lot towards this spot right here. So the first thing that you guys might want to know how to play is like just how to play towards here. This is a very common spot to play. You can play up here. You watch T's as they come up, and you take this fight right here. Also gives you a good vision of Boiler. In addition to playing one person towards arches, if you're playing here, you also want to have someone playing towards apartments, preferably towards these stairs or even in halls, just so that you don't get caught from Boiler. So you can play from here. It's kind of like the same thing. It's basically the exact same thing as playing from this side right here. Know when to peek out and stuff, so it's basically the same fundamentals. Know when to use your smokes. Smokes are really easy to throw. Just toss something like that. Nothing fancy. That was pretty bad. So if it goes a little too deep, just like right, left click. Don't do anything fancy. This is just like basic Counter-Strike. Really easy to hold this angle. Another angle that you guys might want to hold, especially with the rifle, this angle right here. This is a one and done spot and should really only be done in conjunction with the player playing right here and one player playing in apartments. The philosophy behind this two-man setup is one person is going to be here taking fights, and this player is going to punish anyone that's moving up here. So assuming I get a kill on a terrorist coming up here, the rest of the terrorists are going to commit to my angle and try to kill me. As their backs are turned, my teammate playing from this corner is going to peek out and take fights. So that's just another bait setup that you guys can use to neutralize anyone towards mid. So those are two really easy spots. Another spot that I do want to show you guys how to do is play up towards balcony. Now, getting on balcony alone is really, really hard. So another popular YouTuber and CSGO commentator slash analyst, Launders, he's really good at b-hopping and all this movement kind of crap that I'm terrible at. There is actually a way to self-boost yourself onto roof. So it kind of involves like, okay, first off, that was a pretty bad start, but I'm not even going to do this. Like, you kind of just get up here, you strafe out, strafe back in, you get on top of this, and then you jump onto here. But the easy way of doing it is just to have a friend, you know, you have those in CSGO. Just sit up here, boost you up onto this little thing right here. I'm not entirely sure that you can do that with 2 people. I'm like 99% sure that you can. So yeah, it shouldn't be like that hard to do. So alternatively, you can have a teammate for sure boost you up onto this flower pot right here, up on this little ledge right here. And from here, what you can do is kind of jump up onto this shed and hold from here. Now playing this spot is almost the exact same as holding this spot right here. You know, it's the same kind of angle, you do have more elevation, it is a lot less common, so it'll be harder for terrorists to like pre-aim you. They really won't most of the time. So from here you can get a couple of kills, you can throw a smoke or whatever, and then you guys can like back off. So one thing that is kind of unique to this spot is the fact that you can take advantage of this spot. Now this is something that's really fun to do, and this is something that if you do play this spot, take the extra half hour or 25 minutes, maybe in like 10 minutes, just to explore the surrounding. Be comfortable with having a teammate boost you on top of this. Be comfortable with making that super easy jump onto the balcony itself, and really just know how to reposition yourself. So assuming I'm on this thing right here and I jump all the way up here, I take a fight and I'm good. So like, I take this fight, I'm good, I peek out a little wider, take the next person. From here, what I can do is I can jump up here and spread myself even wider out. Now, why I would want to do that is, like, if people just try to pre-aim me straight up, they might aim towards here and then flick towards me over here. And with that time, I can use that to take another fight and potentially win it. So from here, if you are getting overwhelmed, run towards here, and then jump. You guys can reposition yourselves towards there. So it's really not that hard to do. So anyways, in conclusion, that's pretty much all I have to do with holding mid with rifles. I didn't really cover, like, at all how to cover this with an op. That might come in a separate episode. But yeah, be comfortable with playing those positions. Remember, it is always possible to be boosted onto this cute little ledge right here with the flower pot. And now I turned it to Stevie Wonder for a couple of seconds. But like, just be comfortable with getting up here, jumping out, with the teammate, of course, to boost you on top of there. Know how to play an active setup and know how to play a passive setup. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys learned something, like always, and I'll see you guys in an upcoming video.